When an 8 million subscriber YouTube creator announces he's signed a 2-year deal with one of NASCAR's most iconic race teams, you'd expect the internet to lose its mind. What nobody expected was for NASCAR itself to be just as shocked. This Saturday, May 30th, Garrett Mitchell, better known to millions as Cleetus McFarland, will strap into the number 33 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet at Nashville Superspeedway for his second O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race. And the conversation around his presence has split the NASCAR world right down the middle. This isn't some celebrity showing up for a photo op. This isn't a publicity stunt cooked up by a marketing team. This is a legitimate 2-year contract with Richard Childress Racing, the same organization where Dale Earnhardt won 6 championships, the same team that has been a cornerstone of NASCAR for decades. And it all started with a moment on live television that nobody saw coming. Earlier this year, Cleetus appeared on Kevin Harvick's Fox Sports show. Harvick, a NASCAR legend who drove for Richard Childress Racing and won a championship, was chatting casually with the YouTuber when Cleetus dropped the bomb. "I just signed a 2-year deal with RCR." Kevin Harvick's response was instant and perfect. "What?" Just complete shock. Because in what universe does a content creator who films himself destroying muscle cars in his garage land a multi-year deal with one of NASCAR's most respected organizations? But that's exactly what happened. 3 races per year in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. The number 33 car. Tommy's Express as the primary sponsor. A contract that runs all the way through 2027. And Richard Childress himself, the 80-year-old team owner who has seen everything in this sport, calling it a dream-come-true opportunity and talking about how excited his entire team is to work with someone who brings genuine passion to racing. So let's back up. Who is Cleetus McFarland, and how did we get here? Garrett Mitchell grew up in Nebraska with an obsession for American muscle and horsepower. He started making YouTube videos doing what most gearheads can only dream about: buying old muscle cars, building them up in his garage, and then absolutely sending them at drag strips and tracks while screaming about freedom and V8 engines. His energy is infectious. His love for cars is completely authentic. And over time, he built an audience of over 8 million people who follow his every move. He owns the Freedom Factory, a racetrack in Florida where he hosts his own racing events like the Freedom 500 and the Crown Vic All-Star Series. These aren't professional NASCAR races. These are beater car battles where fans can race against Cleetus himself. In 2023, he won his own Freedom 500. The man lives and breathes motorsports, and it shows in everything he does. His NASCAR journey started in 2025 when he began competing in the ARCA Menards Series with Rhett Jones Racing. His first start at Daytona was rough. He finished 41st, an early exit that would have discouraged most people. But Cleetus isn't most people. He kept showing up. He kept learning. By 2026, he finished 11th at Daytona in ARCA, then 4th at Rockingham in the ARCA East Series. Then came Talladega. At Talladega in the ARCA race, Cleetus finished 2nd. Let that sink in. 2nd place at Talladega, one of the most chaotic and unpredictable tracks in all of motorsports. He led laps. He battled door-to-door with experienced drivers. And when it was over, he looked at the camera and said it was the greatest race he'd ever been part of, then added with a grin that it was the most fun he'd ever had with his clothes on. That quote alone tells you everything you need to know about why fans love this guy. After that performance, Richard Childress Racing came calling. And the deal they offered wasn't a one-race tryout. It was 2 years. Real commitment. Real investment in his development as a driver. But not everyone is thrilled about it. His O'Reilly Series debut at Rockingham on April 4th was challenging. He started 35th. On lap 4, he saved a spin that showed he had real car control and awareness. But on lap 206, he spun again and couldn't save it, dropping to the back of the field. He finished 32nd, last among those who actually finished the race. And the reaction from NASCAR fans was immediate and polarized. One side argued that he doesn't belong, that he's taking a seat from a real driver who deserves the opportunity, that this is just celebrity culture invading yet another sport. The other side pointed out that he finished the race, that he showed improvement throughout the day, and that his presence brought tens of thousands of new viewers to a Rockingham race that otherwise wouldn't have gotten that kind of attention. Then came the Talladega controversy, and this is where things got messy. After his second-place ARCA finish at Talladega, Cleetus was approved to race in the O'Reilly Series event at the same track. This would have been huge. Same weekend, same track, stepping up from ARCA to the O'Reilly Series right after a podium finish. The story wrote itself. And then NASCAR pulled his approval. The sanctioning body decided he hadn't yet met the requirements to compete at that level on a superspeedway. The news blindsided his fans and sparked genuine debate about whether NASCAR was protecting the field or just being overly cautious. Cleetus handled it with class. He was disappointed, sure, but he didn't throw a fit on social media. He simply confirmed that Nashville would be next and kept his focus forward. Which brings us to this Saturday. Nashville Superspeedway is a 1.5-mile concrete oval. It's not a superspeedway like Talladega or Daytona. It's an intermediate track that rewards patience, discipline, and consistency. The speeds are lower in the corners, which is exactly why Richard Childress Racing in NASCAR viewed it as a safe bet for his second start. But make no mistake, this race matters. This is where Cleetus has to show that Rockingham was part of a learning curve, not a ceiling. The O'Reilly Series field is full of hungry drivers grinding their way up through NASCAR's ranks. They've been racing their entire lives. They won't give Cleetus an inch. And if he makes mistakes, the internet will be watching. But so will the supporters, the 8 million subscribers who have followed his journey from backyard burnouts to a professional NASCAR contract. And here's what even his harshest critics have to admit when they're being honest: Cleetus McFarland can actually drive. Going from 41st at Daytona in 2025 to 2nd at Talladega in 2026 doesn't happen by luck. That's real, measurable development. His team owner at Rhett Jones Racing said after Talladega that Cleetus had progressed faster than almost anyone they'd worked with at that stage. That's not hype. That's a credible voice in motorsports giving genuine praise. But there's another layer to this story that almost nobody is talking about yet. Richard Childress, the man who built one of NASCAR's most legendary organizations, who hasn't raced competitively in over 40 years, is suiting up to race in one of Cleetus's Crown Vic All-Star events at Stafford Speedway. An 80-year-old NASCAR team owner is going door-to-door with internet fans in a beat-up Crown Victoria because his new driver invited him. If that doesn't tell you what kind of energy and respect Cleetus brings to every situation, nothing will. The broader question is where all of this leads. Cleetus has been open about his long-term goal, the Daytona 500. Not this year. Maybe not next year. But that's the target. And with a contract through 2027, with ARCA results that show legitimate improvement, and with millions of fans watching his every move, the path isn't as crazy as it sounds. Saturday night at Nashville is the next chapter. Can he stay clean? Can he show improvement from Rockingham? Can he prove to NASCAR that he's not just a content creator playing race car driver, but a legitimate competitor earning his place on the grid? The NASCAR community is divided. Some fans are all in, celebrating the new energy and attention he brings. Others remain skeptical, waiting for him to prove he can handle the competition week after week. But one thing is certain: nobody is ignoring Cleetus McFarland anymore. Whether you think he belongs or not, whether you love him or hate him, Garrett Mitchell is here, and he's not backing down. Nashville Superspeedway is about to find out what happens when 8 million people tune in to watch their guy race against the best the O'Reilly Series has to offer. If you're a NASCAR fan who wants to stay up to date on every twist, every controversy, and every major story shaping this sport, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll be covering Cleetus's Nashville race and everything else happening across NASCAR all season long. Let's see what Saturday brings.